And a warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us for another live episode of Conversations with Michael. We are streaming live from our home studio in the beautiful Willamette Valley of Oregon, and this past week has been simply beautiful weather here in Oregon. The highs have been, in a couple of days in the low 90s, and nature itself is in stunning full bloom. Extraordinary beauty everywhere you look. Let's take our collective deep breath. And before we get started today, we'd like to take this moment to thank all the members of the Masters Unplugged program. We sincerely and deeply appreciate all of your ongoing support. It allows us to continue to offer a variety of free content, including today's show. And if you're new to our work, well, welcome. Feel free to check out our website at theteachingsofmichael.com. All of our programs and services are designed to help you shift your reliance on a polarized, dualistic system of reality over to one that allows consciousness in the form of your soul to coexist inside of this human experience with you. I've been serving the teachings of Michael for the last 30 years. Boy, that went really, really fast. Initially, as a conscious channel for Archangel Michael and for Yeshua. It has been an incredible experience. But all along, Michael has insisted that this experience was not about him, nor was it about channeling. It was all about integrating the presence of our soul into this human experience, allowing that presence to express itself, its radiance, as a living example for our extended human family. Michael insisted that our own insights and our compassion as a human being would have far greater impact on our human family than anything he or Yeshua would share through any channeler. So Their service to those who were at the forefront of this change was to help us to reclaim our own magnificence. In relationship to our extended human family, their wisdom more than likely would fall on deaf ears. So 8 years ago, I honored his wisdom and decided to stop acting as a conscious channel for him and for Yeshua. I grew to understand that this form of communication was still a part of our old story. It took me a while to get comfortable with that shift, to truly accept it. And what I discovered is in our new story, channeling just isn't needed anymore. As strange as that might sound, I've grown to accept that. But then the question comes up. Where will the insights, all the wisdom come from, if not from these grand non-physical beings? Well, the good news and the bad news, it now comes from us. Let's call that good news. Let's start with that. It comes from us, but not just from our human identity. We are being offered the opportunity to embody something truly sacred, what Michael refers to as a sacred triangle, one that includes both the human, the soul, and our eternal self. Our new voice, our new expression includes all these parts of ourselves. I know that some of my peers have created a business model in service to others that relies almost exclusively on channeling to help support their own clients. And from my own experience, my service quadrupled when I stopped channeling. And of course, to make this real, it takes a lot of courage to allow those parts of you that are already free to now be inside this human experience with you. Let's take a deep breath there. As I am joined once again here with my beloved friend and wife, Coca, who is acting as she always does as a support for these presentations that we do. Appreciate it. Over the past 8 years, people still ask me, am I speaking on behalf of Michael, my soul, or is this Robert in any number of the classes, the private sessions, the courses, the workshops? And the best compliment I've received is from those of you that can't tell the difference. So let's be clear. Michael or Michael hasn't shifted his devotion to being of support to all of us. That will never change as far as I can see. He stepped back in relationship with me to give my soul the opportunity to step forward. And much to my surprise, speaking as Robert, my soul, who is also a facet of Michael, shares the same wisdom, but has a lot more human experiences to fall back on. Plus, he's got a better sense of humor. I've noticed in my private sessions and in my classes that some of you of late are actually more at ease, more comfortable working with my soul than you are with working with Michael. It's actually been my soul over these past 5 years that participates in all these private online group sessions that we've been doing, encouraging each of you to trust more and more in the presence of your own soul without calling it channeling. For me, it's been an incredible experience. We've witnessed some truly profound shifts as it relates to your trust. We see so many of you beginning to rely more and more on the presence of your soul for guidance and for support. We realize that there aren't too many living examples of people having a conscious relationship with these non-physical parts of our human identity. For most people, the non-physical realms still represent an unproven and unseen and unknown aspect of life. There's very little evidence, tangible evidence, to prove that this thing called the soul is actually real. So it's a huge leap of trust to begin to explore the possibility that another part of you also exists in another realm. And from my experience, it requires a lot more than faith to make that real. So we have the honor of working with a small but very passionate group of people from all over the world who feel called to explore a deeper experience with their own soul. How do we define the soul? Well, is of course a little different from how others define it. We refer to the original self or the eternal one as being the original homogenized version of all of us, of everything. But when this self set itself free to become countless versions of itself, we refer to each version as being now a sovereign eternal self. Michael or Michael is but one of these. Others like him then repeated this whole setting yourself free experience. That gave birth to yet another version that we call the soul. One of those is called Kethra. That would be me. Here on earth, I have the distinguished honor of being called Bob. Spelled backwards, it's still me. As a soul, I am sharing this human experience with a human persona called Robert, the more distinguished alternative to Bob. An identity that only knows itself from this singular human experience during this one lifetime. So our work with all of you is not for the faint of heart, because we're not speaking of you being a singular identity. But if you truly want to taste the freedom to create your own experience, imagine that. The freedom to create your own experience. One that transcends all the doubts, all the worries and concerns that have become a natural part of being human. Then we have to be willing for that to be real, to step outside of the parameters of your own story, both human and otherwise. Let's be clear here. There's nothing wrong with your human story. But can we agree it's very limited? Limited by a perception that insists that what we see is all that exists. So throughout our known history, there have been countless spiritual teachers, artists, poets, and musicians, all of whom have shared in their own unique way a relationship to life that transcends what is known to you. A part of you is deeply touched by what these creative individuals have expressed. So much so that it has inspired the human family to create a variety of museums, concert halls, and sacred temples to honor these individuals. There is this part of you that just knows, without knowing how it knows, that what is being shared is indeed sacred. Now, of course, the human part loves to create conditions and agendas, but at the very heart of all of our creations, we are reminded of something we lost long, long ago. We too, inside this human experience, are also sacred. Let's take a breath there. Because at face value, that sounds so simple. Until the human part realizes that the sacred part of us never feels conflicted. It's never confused about itself. Lack in any form is unknown to it. And it knows without a doubt that it too is the original self, but with your name on it. My friends, it's been a long, long time that any of us inside of this physical experience allowed such a presence to coexist with our human persona. And one of the most refreshing realizations we discovered along the way, in the process of allowing this sacred part to be part of our life, it accepts the human part just as it is. And that's almost too good to be true. No wonder the non-physical realm is called woo-woo by so many. Most people would proclaim that no one on earth totally accepts their human self just as they are. Such a belief could potentially bankrupt the entire beauty industry. Who would we preach to if self-acceptance became the norm? Well, the pharmaceutical industry would collapse if no one needed to be medicated. So from my own experience, and from working with thousands of people over these past 30 years, the most difficult part for our human persona in relationship to our soul is this whole thing called acceptance. It's so unlike anything that part of us has ever experienced before. But things have changed, have they not? In a very radical way during this lifetime. At least for a few thousand human beings that just decided to go for it. They begin to allow this non-physical version of them to now be a part of this physical experience. And from Michael's perspective, that represents the largest gathering of fully embodied souls on this planet living here at the same time. To all of you that have been involved with this process, speaking for Coca, we bow before you. Simply because any other choice would have been easier, far easier. That human persona has a really, really hard time believing that your soul, for one, actually wants to coexist with you, and two, once it does, will accept the human part for what it is. Why? Because your human self doesn't feel that way about itself. And that belief is just reinforced on a daily basis in your relationship with your fellow human beings. Another deep breath. Some of you watching today's show, you've been attracted to a variety of spiritual teachings, including our own for many years. In a way, it has consumed your life. You knew that it was really, really important in this lifetime to break free of all those underlying, unresolved, conflicted energies. Like you, most of you have been here, well, over 1,000 lifetimes. And it's been an incredible journey. Like you, my heart's been broken countless times. While at the same time, you got a glimpse each and every lifetime of something truly extraordinary. And perhaps it was during the lifetime of my dear friend Yeshua that inspired you to take that deep dive into your own freedom, to feel this innocent divine presence for yourself in such a way that it would completely transform your life. A life that you could finally trust. Because for once, it would be your life you would be living. This lifetime, my friends, is that life for so many of you. And those that have allowed their soul to be a part of this human experience during this lifetime, well, for the most part, they're still here. Why? Mainly because you are too. So together we are walking a path very few have walked. It's such an honor for us to be of service to all of you. We posted this on our Facebook page, and I wanted to share it here as well. It truly is you that is serving us by allowing us to serve you as an expression of our love for ourselves, one that cannot be contained. Thank you. Thank you. And if you would like to stay connected to all of our upcoming events, simply click on the link next to this video on our website or in the Facebook post. Now, normally, this is the time that I turn this over to Michael. But in service to all of you, what we are calling of late the new mystics, those that are willing to trust in the energy of their soul, and if called upon, are also willing to speak. Let's do something new today, shall we? Let's take another deep breath. Greetings. It is I, Kethra. I know that I am Michael too, but with my name on it. And it seems indeed I have been called upon in service to some of the most courageous beings I have ever known. Ever. Both your soul and your human identity. Let's continue our conversation, shall we? Because together you and I have explored countless opportunities throughout all creation with one thing in mind. Where is our freedom? Where is our freedom? Initially, we embraced this freedom for the longest time by doing battle with those parts of creation that we perceived had ignored the heart. But it wasn't until we started to acknowledge the part we were playing inside of these battles that things really started to change. from within, we could see how we were feeding the battles outside of us. Here on earth, we've discovered that going within is a very humbling experience for all beings. It's very hard to admit what we weren't willing to accept about ourselves, both from the perspective of our own light and our light's shadow. It's so much easier to just conceptualize these things related to spirit and consciousness than it is to actually allow its presence to be in your life. Most of you watching this show, you know this firsthand. Here on earth, you've been a part of the greatest experience in all creation. At least that is how Michael perceives this. And I would agree with him. I didn't always agree with that, but now I do agree with him. A place that offered all of us the opportunity in slow motion to get to know yourself. In ways that we all know has been challenging, to say the very least. It has brought us to our knees, in part because you got comfortable with that part of yourself that didn't recognize your soul as being, well, the real you. So all the divisions, all the games, all the trials and errors have finally come to an end. But sometimes it's not so easy to stop doing what has always served you in the past. I get that. It's not so easy to let go of all those feelings that have supported your human self. Even if you didn't like how they felt, at least you did feel supported. We recently talked about the greatest story ever imagined in the I Spirit course. We were all invited to play a part in this, to experience all the benefits from playing a new role in the greatest story ever imagined. To do that, your human self needed to stop playing the role you have played that supported feelings separate from your soul. It's not easy to let go of what feels familiar, is it? It's also not easy to continue playing a role that is no longer as fulfilling as it once was. So much of what we experience here on earth is connected to what we were also experiencing in the stars, in the other realms. Feeling stuck. Here on earth, it feels like you stepped into wet concrete that instantly dried. Now you're walking around with all the weight on your shoulders, and we call that physical reality. So your personal experience as a human being helps to dissolve this heavy feeling. But it's not all about you in relationship to this stuck feeling. Feeling stuck is universal, is a cosmic dilemma. But being a conscious creator, that is all about you. It actually frees you from participating in all the drama that is connected to this polarized cosmic story. but it also removes you from the only known reality that has been supporting all creation since we left the kingdom. That starts here with all of your human relationships. Starting with making a conscious choice to stop playing the victim in whatever form that takes. And then to start choosing the quality of your own life. And of course, some of you are asking, Dear Kethra, how do I do that? How do I let go of playing a role in this movie called My Life that has me feeling frustrated and confused? And the part that some of you really don't understand is this. In this new movie called The Greatest Story Ever Imagined, there is no director. There is no greater, no higher being than your own soul. You, as the soul, get to write your own script. How? How do you do this inside the human experience? Well, from your human perspective, you imagine how it would feel to be completely free of all those underlying doubts and concerns. Let's spend a moment just doing that. Imagine how that would feel. You have the freedom to do that, to be completely free of all those doubts, worries, and concerns. Imagine how it would feel to lack nothing. Breathe with that. How would that feel? To lack no thing. And then it's important that you acknowledge that such a feeling seems a little surreal to your human story. So what's the human to do? You ask for some assistance. You ask for support from any being who just might know how it does feel to be that free. And lucky for you, such a being already exists. As I speak, such a being, non-physical in nature, is standing right next to you, offering unlimited support for the human part of you. Breathe that in. And perhaps, just perhaps, as you're breathing that in and allowing that in, you begin to feel a sigh of relief. Because your human persona knows it could take another 1,000,000 lifetimes before you could potentially master playing such a role in such a grand movie by yourself. And then something profound happens. We've seen it in all of you. You begin to turn to your soul, the one that is standing right next to you. You, the human part, asks if you could play the part that supports this other part of you that is already free. Instead of being the lead character in this new movie, your human persona would play a supporting role. It isn't easy for the human ego to step aside, is it? Nor is it easy for the ego to be blamed for not being able to play the role of a free human being in a way that would be convincing. Oh, we've all tried. All of you have tried. But how did that go? Can you acknowledge how this feels and allow your soul to help support your ego's dilemma by accepting this part of you completely? No judgments, no concerns. Total acceptance, just as it is. That acceptance represents a quality of love that is more rare than any precious diamond on this planet. Let's take another deep breath, a very, very deep breath. All of us birthed ourselves into this reality, and we all soon realized our choices here are fairly limited. Light and dark, male and female, a victim or an abuser. The roles were already set in place inside the only known movie ever created in all creation. But then something changed. We awakened during this lifetime. We survived all the games and distractions that are a part of the awakening process. And now you have another choice. My friends, are you tired of feeling left out of the greatest story ever imagined? Are you tired of feeling alone on this planet? Are you tired of waiting for a quality of love from your human family that has yet to be shared with you? Well, the good news is you don't need to wait any longer. The human part of you has already told us in countless ways it's not looking for some angel to stand by its side. It wants human companionship. Well, your soul offers that in a very intimate and direct way, living inside your human body with you. I mean, let's be real. How much more intimate can it get? Let me ask Robert. Dear Robert, am I close enough for you? I think I'll keep his reply to myself. Yes, I think I will. Is it time, my friends, to stop playing the role that breaks your heart every single day? Let's just own that. That particular role that you've been playing is designed to break your heart every single day. Is it time to allow the human self to be truly loved back? Is it? Are you tired of feeling alone? With your soul, will it feel as real as a love shared with you by another human being? Well, we think Robert has already answered that question every time we share our love with all of you inside this sacred triangle we've created between us. Not because we feel obligated to do so. The love we share in this threesome between Robert, myself, and Michael, it simply cannot be contained. Robert discovered early on that it actually hurts the physical body when he tries to contain our expression. Nor does it represent itself as being another channeled message from Michael. Well, thank God, because I thought we were done with the New Age, my friends. So the teachings of Michael is a very clever way of saying to all of you, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to share how we feel about each other inside this physical body in this sacred triangle. We share it with you because it is also your birthright to experience this for yourself. Take a breath. Take a deep breath. And let's spend a few moments just allowing that. Allow your soul to play the part it was born to play inside this physical reality, inside your physical body. Invite it with all your heart to be in your life. Your heart will do all the talking. Now feel your soul talking back to you, heart to heart. I see it in each of you, but what do you feel, my friends? What are you feeling? Very good. Welcome to the greatest story ever imagined. Now playing in the privacy of your own home, but soon to be released for all to see as an energetic blessing for this planet. You, with the presence of your soul, are a blessing to all life on this planet. We highly recommend spending the last years of this last lifetime in a place of joy. With your soul, your life shifts into an orgasmic life. And when you come back to the non-physical realm, allow yourself to be loved and honored for the choice you are making right now. I promise you, these next few decades will pass in a blink of an eye. Take it all in, my friends. Take it all in. The role you are playing in this new movie gives billions of human beings renewed hope that such a freedom is indeed real. They wouldn't trust it if it was presented as a channeled message from any of you. They will trust it if they hear that from you. It will give trillions of beings throughout all creation renewed hope that all is indeed well. Because of your courage to step out of the only known reality, duality itself, and to step into something new. You can feel it as we speak. Breathe in this warm glow, supporting your creations like never before. This warm glow has been called many things. We also call it your innocence, your natural state of consciousness. It's an honor to be of service to all of you. All my blessings.